So this is our washer. It's a Samsung. We bought it summer, fall of 2017, so it's 4-ish years old, a little over maybe. So not very old. So I was getting where the wash cycle would get to the draining part and it made a loud grinding noise. And I noticed it, mentioned it to my wife, so I might have an issue with the water pump. I'm gonna have to take it out this weekend and see if I can get it blown out and clean it. Well, the next day we ran a large load and I heard the alarm beeping, which it's just like a chime that it does when it gets stuck or has an unbalance issue. So I came out here in the laundry room expecting to have to adjust the load and rebalance it. And instead it had a SC code, which I've never seen, right here on the screen. So I Googled that and it tells me it's a drain issue. So first thing I had to do was get all the clothes out, try and wring them out by hand, rinsed them in our bathtub, and then dried them. So we didn't have laundry stuck in there, but the problem is I had 3/4 of a basket full of water, tub full of water in this washer. So I rigged up my own little sump pump to some air hose that I had and ran that to the washer's drain in the wall right back here, drained the tub out. And then now I've spun the washer around, and this is the model number, WA50M7450 AP/A4. This was a Home Depot model we bought. I think it costed us around $1,000, and we bought it because it's really huge, 5 point, I don't know how many cubic foot capacity. It's one of the ones that doesn't have an agitator. So it doesn't clean super great, but it cleans good enough for us. I don't have a blue collar job anymore, you know. Our clothes don't get real dirty, so we might have to get a good front loader if our kids all get into sports and we get a bunch of real dirty clothes again. But for now, it's fine for us. And I didn't want to spend $1,000 on a new one. So that's the water pump that I'm pretty sure has died. I have a new one on order from the repair clinic, and I will update the video once I get the new pump in and installed and whether it fixed it or not. And then I will put it on YouTube for you people to see. So hopefully this helps out somebody else with the same issue. The other thing I was going to do, if I couldn't rig up a sump pump to clean out that tub, if you end up with this same problem, because upon my Googling, I found quite a few people who had this similar model, or the smaller 4 cubic foot one seems to be more common, that the water pump went out, that you could siphon it out using like a fluid transfer pump. It's just like a thing you hand squeeze to prime the bulb. Pick them up at Harbor Freight for like $7. But because I already had a sump pump, you know, it was just easier for me to do it that way. So anyway, once I get the new part in and get it replaced, I'll do a test cycle and I'll update you guys. My main symptom right now is, remember the first time I told you I had a grinding sound when the pump was pumping water out, but I did finish the cycle. Well, then the next day, the water was stuck in there and I had a SC code. I pumped it out. I actually ran another cycle empty on spin and rinse and spin setting. And it filled with water. It agitated around doing the rinse. And then when it went to spin, there was no noise at all. Couldn't even hear the pump trying to run, which tells me the motor in the pump died. I'm hoping that I'm right. I can't fathom what else it could possibly be other than that. So I'm taking the risk and spent $70-80 on a new part from Repair Clinic. And I'll update this with the part number and the installation if and when it works out. Just got the box in today from repairclinic.com, I believe is the website. It's like they package their replacement parts pretty good. So there it is. At a glance, that looks to be the exact pump assembly I need. So hopefully everything fits. And hopefully the wiring harness matches whatever I have on the washer. And let's get the removal of the old pump and the installation of the new one started. So one thing I did not cover when I talked about how I used the sump pump to drain out this washer is you can get the water that's visible, but actually below that little agitating device, there's a cavity, I don't know how deep, a couple inches maybe that has water in it. So if you listen, you can still hear the water splashing around in there. So I do have water in there still. I don't know how much. Half a gallon, you know, gallon maybe. I don't want that spilling all over our beautiful unfinished floor. So what I'm going to do is actually pull this washer away from the wall, maybe 2 feet, and I'm going to tip it so it's at a 45-degree angle, pushing all the water in the tub to the far side, so that hopefully when I unhook this hose, hopefully all I get is the little bit of water that's already in there, and I don't get the whole spill. So that's my hope. I got my child's beach bucket here to hopefully catch what I'm expecting to only be a cup or so of water, but you know, the best laid plans. We'll see how that goes. I got to thinking before I got started, before I pull off this hose clamp right here. Ooh, I guess I don't have that washer tipped enough. Almost tipped it back on me. I'm going to pull off this hose clamp and this hose clamp first. But now I just got to thinking before I pull this one off, since I have it tipped back already, I got a large Tupperware tub I'm going to stick under the washer to try to catch any water coming out. I'm going to try, let me switch hands here. I'm going to try to do this while recording, but I might end up having to put the phone down. Yeah, I'm going to have to put the phone down. Now, all I'm doing is taking off this hose clamp and this hose clamp first. Those are the first two things I do. The next thing I'm going to do is remove the mounting bolts, which there's one right here and one right there. And I believe, looking at the new pump, those are the only two mounting bolts. Then there's where the wiring comes in. Under this little white thing, I believe is just a cap I pop off with a flathead. And I believe then I can pull the wires out. So that's the next step. I'm going to have to do a video cut. So I got both of these hoses off. This one comes right off. This one I had to keep the pliers on the hose clamp and just rock it back and forth. And immediately this fell out of the hose. Would appear, maybe I have twin 3-year-olds, maybe one of them threw up and my wife washed the bedding. I don't know. I don't know what that is. It's really gross and it doesn't smell very good. So if the whole pump's clogged with that could have been what the problem was. I now have both the mounting bolts removed. I'm going to see if the pump pulls free. Looks like maybe there's a clip holding it in down there. Yeah, there's definitely a clip or a screw down there. I'm going to have to take another look here. Oh, maybe not. All right, I got it. I got the pump free, but there's a zip tie right there holding the wiring harness in. So I'm gonna have to figure out how to get the cord, how to get the power out. So I ended up cutting that cord keeper right there. It's in the middle of the frame. Try and focus the camera. I can't really get the focus, so I can pull the pump out of the back here and get it in my hands. Figure out how to get this cover off the wiring harness. It goes in. It zip ties here, runs under it, and then that's where the actual clip it, or where it actually connects for the terminal. So, all right. After showing some care, because I was really worried about breaking this pump or something. So right where the terminals connect, there's a tab right here. If I grab that and pull this direction that I'm trying to point, that's how I get the top off. I remembered I have a tripod. All the grease you see all over me, that's actually from the rods that support the drum. They're all coated in a grease. That's why I'm trying to get this back bolt out. Basically, I had my hand rubbing against the rod as I was unscrewing it. So I'm going to grab right here, right above where these electrical terminals connect, right there. I'm going to pull it that direction, and it should. There we go. Now I can unplug these two terminals and see if the new one fits on. It does look a little bit different, so. Oh, that's one of these deals. If I get that little lip to stay. There we go. That one looks like a straight pull. All right, so there we go. Pump is out. Now, here's the new pump. Geometrically, it's pretty similar. The only thing, I think I noticed one thing different. Now I don't see what it, oh, you see the end housing for where the terminals connect is a little different. This one's got, the new one's got like a gray cover. I have to figure out how to take off, or maybe I'm not because it's got the 3-prong right here, but I would prefer if the old connections work just to reuse. Oh, okay, that one just pops open like that. And there's where those terminals connect right there. So, oh, it hinges right open. So I'm gonna try and reuse the old terminals so I don't have to run this all the way up and have to open up my top electrical panel on the washer. So let me take these electrical connections off. Well, I'm trying to keep it in frame on the camera, but it's hard to orient a weirdly shaped part like this in a way that lets my hands work how I want them to. There we go. Oh. There. All right, and that one's just held in by like a little alligator clip. Oh, and there's a wire cord keeper right there I don't have to cut, but that's all right. So I'm gonna get this installed. All I'm gonna do is put the old electrical terminal still from the washer right here, and then I'm going to bolt it back in with the 2 bolts. Then I'm gonna reconnect the drain and the feed line out of the tub. I'm gonna spin the washer around and we're gonna run a test cycle. So let's hope I don't have to spend $1,000 on a whole new washer instead of the 80 bucks I spent on this part here. So there it is, new pump is installed. Hoses are back on and clamped. Electrical's hooked up. I'm not really worried about this cord keeper. I don't see any way that there's just not enough slack on the line for it to matter. You know, it held it just barely in place. So I'm not too worried about replacing that. I was gonna zip tie it, but once I checked the line and it's only got about 2 inches of play either way, I'm not worried about it. I'm not even gonna replace it. Other than that, we should be ready for the test run. So I'm going to hook up my supply lines and run the drain line. So I've got the washer sitting 90 degrees from how it usually sits. Usually the back obviously is against the wall, but I got the supply lines hooked up. Got the hose ran to the drain and I got it plugged in. This way I can watch and make sure I don't have any leaks out of them 2 hoses going into the pump. And also because if everything's good, I still got to get back here and put the sheet metal cover that goes here and over the wiring harness here back on. So I'm gonna run it turn 90 degrees. I'm gonna run it on just a rinse and spin cycle. And let's hope I don't have a flood when it pumps out, if that pump works. We're winding down to the end of the rinse cycle. I did it last time when it started. When I tested it after it first failed during a cycle, it was 11 minutes. So we're at 11 minutes now. And what it did is it sat here, literally just at 11 minutes, and it didn't do anything. And then no sound, you couldn't even hear the pump motor trying to run. And then after about an hour, I came back out here and I had the SC code on for the second time. That's how I knew it wasn't just a one-off issue. And that was after I left it unplugged for a half hour, you know, power cycled the device. And because that was the first thing I found suggesting unplug. And look at that. Look at that. Look at that. You hear that? That's water draining. All right, let me get the. All right, we're recording again. This time with the flash on. It doesn't appear that the hoses are leaking. We are good to go. Let's it's not fresh. I mean, I can see it's not leaking. If you're wondering, this thing is absolutely not balanced where it's sitting. But pump's working. There it goes, pumping again. Sounding good. I mean, there was no sound. You couldn't hear anything. When I hit that 11-minute mark and I was trying to pump it out, it was just dead quiet, like the machine was dead. And you can hear the pump run, you can hear the water going down the drain. And trying to get a good angle with my phone. I don't see anything fresh dripping other than water left over from when I took the old pump off. So we are good to go. So the next thing I gotta do is put the sheet metal panel back on. This one will go on first. And it's just 1, 2, 3, 4 screws. And then there's a small one that goes in right here to cover this exposed wiring harness up to the back of the upper control panel. And that's just 1 screw, I think, right there. And then the drain hose actually has a little retention thing that goes right there that I took off too, just because the way the hose was turned, I knew it was going to be in my way the whole time I was working on the pump, so I just took that out as well. All in all, I am not a very mechanical guy. I'd rate this a 2 out of 5 difficulty repair. It is not very hard. If you have a Samsung washer like mine, you know, 2017, 18, Smart Care VRT style, you know, I mean, you'll recognize it, you know, from the photos or from the video. If you have one similar to this, agitated freestyle, top load, it is not a big deal to change out that pump. If you're getting that SC code and you don't hear a single noise and you know it's not even pumping, really easy repair. I mean, that took me all of an hour and a half to finish doing. So, kick ass, man. I'm excited when we get this thing put back together. And I hope this helps out somebody. And I'll put the part number I ordered for my specific model in the description, because I don't know how to put it on the video for my phone. I don't upload this, so hope this helps somebody. I know every time I need to fix something, I find a YouTube video, I'm always thankful that somebody took the time to make one, so I thought I would do it too.